Shit my dad taught me.
Shit my dad taught me. Let's try this again. We're virtual today with Nate Tanzman. Nate, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you dealing with us with a little technical difficulties there, but it looks like we got things going on. So let's jump right in, man. We have a tradition on the show where we like to welcome our guests with a ChatGPT intro, if I may.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. At 18 years old, Nate was in a dark place. Depression, addiction, just trying to get through the day. And what pulled him out wasn't therapy, wasn't some clean, perfect solution. It was chaos. It was motorcycle stunt riding. Not because he was the most talented guy out there, but because he was willing to go further than anyone else, push harder, risk more, and yeah, at one point he fully expected he would kill himself. But instead, it built him. Through crashes, addiction, losing everything financially, rebuilding from scratch, Nate figured something out that most guys never do. The purpose doesn't just show up, you earn it. It's through commitment, it's through pain, it's through getting back up when it'd be easier to not. Now he's on the other side of that. He's a speaker, he's a builder, and he's helping other people get out of their own heads and actually take control of their life. This one's about rock bottom, identity, and what happens when you decide you're not going to stay there. Nathan Tanzman, welcome to Shit My Dad Taught Me.
Man, ChatGPT, okay. All right, I like it. Hey, it's not too bad, not too bad.
That's a story, man. That's a story.
Yeah, I want to jump right in, man.
it.
What did it get right? What did we miss?
Want to go in addiction there real quick. I drank a lot when I was younger. I smoked a lot of weed. Never anything harder than that. I was just running from pain. You know, I mean, that's really what it came down to. I think I had a lack of identity within myself. I was always like the good boy throughout my whole life, always the good kid, did everything my parents told me. And then there was a pivotal moment in my life where I got a junior college scholarship to play baseball, and something in my spirit was like, this is not for you. Like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And this is like the first time I rebelled against my parents and kind of broke out and did things on my own. And I was just a disaster because I had this like separation that I had never experienced before. And my parents being mad at me for it. They wanted me to go to college, you know, do the thing. And I just knew it wasn't for me. And so that's why I just started spiraling mentally. Hindsight's 2020, being a grown man. This is all self-inflicted adversity, by the way. You know, we don't know that when we're in it, right? But I mean, I would say, yeah, a lot of that did pretty well.
Yeah. And go back to the early days, man. Tell us a little bit about even before that, like growing up, where was home? What was home like?
Yeah, I grew up, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in the Portland, Oregon area, was born and raised here. Household was fine. I mean, my parents split up when I was 16, you know, just normal stuff that's going on. And that, I don't feel like that affected me too much. It was more of the identity thing, breaking out of high school, getting into my, you know, man years where I really kind of spiraled in that. Just like I said, mentally, again, hindsight's 2020, being a grown man is all self-inflicted adversity. I was making up stuff that wasn't there, like a lot of us do, you know. But where do you want to go from there?
Yeah, man. Well, I want to talk a little bit about what made you, what got your story in front of us, anyways, which was some of the stunt riding that you did. How'd you get into that?
Was that going to be your vice?
It was. I was mentally unstable, and I thought the best thing I should do is buy a motorcycle.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense. That checks out.
I mean, right? So I got my first job. You know, I told my parents, hey, I'm not going to take this scholarship. I know you guys want me to go play baseball. I know you always wanted me to be a baseball player and wanted me to go to school and all these things. I'm not going to take this scholarship. My dad looks at me. I won't use the language he used. He doesn't say anything. He just goes, you better get a job. And then walked away. So that's what I did. I got a job and I worked at a car lot washing cars. And every time we would fill up a car with gas when a customer bought it, there was a guy that had a motorcycle parked outside the gas station. I'd look at it every single day. I walk by it and he goes, you want it? I'm like, dude, I don't have any money. You know, I think when I first started working, minimum wage was like $7 or something like that. Like, you know, $3,000. There's no way. Well, I ended up borrowing the money from somebody, bought the bike, shouldn't have been riding it. It was a 1000cc bike and I had no business on it. And I just started going crazy and I figured it would be a good idea to pick the front wheel up and crashed it a few times going fast and decided that that was not the way to go. And I should start learning how to control it and doing all those things. But this was all birthed out of chaos, like kind of like you said. I was just running from the thoughts that were in my head. I at one point, again, this is all hindsight, but suicidal for no reason. Just lack of identity. Like if I don't have a place here, what's the point? I think a lot of men will not admit that we feel that way. Maybe not to that extreme, but you want to feel needed, right? You want to feel like in your work, in your family, and every area that you put yourself into, you want to feel like I'm needed here. I have a place here, and I felt like I didn't have a place to serve and to be able to give back and have impact. Like there's no point.
Yeah, the meaning piece is huge. We talk about that from time to time, just about, you know, how you have to find that sense of purpose. And, you know, we also talk a lot about community, right? Like as soon as you find a group and you find some like-minded individuals, and then all of a sudden there's that sense of belonging and you can, you know, take on the world.
Yeah.
What's that culture like, man? So you've got, you know, 1000cc bike and you front wheels off the ground. Like how do you go from that to some of the videos that I've seen, and what was that culture like?
So I ended up crashing that bike, got rid of it, ended up getting the bike I was supposed to get, which is a 600cc bike, not a 1000cc bike. And I was obsessed. And what I realized is the only thing that was keeping me from thinking the things I was thinking was being on the bike. And so as a byproduct, I just got really good. You know, like your Chat GPT intro said, like, man, I wasn't the best guy around. It took me longer to figure out how to wheelie than anybody I know. But it was deeper than that for me. It was escaping what I was dealing with in my head. And again, I don't say all this stuff to be a victim. I did probably 10 years ago. But no, hindsight, again, 2020, like this is all like the programming being broken, right? Like, oh, you don't deserve to be here because you don't know what you're going to do with your life right now. That's silly, right? So I just got obsessed and I spent time, energy, money I didn't have to stay on the bike as much as I could. Because if I was on the bike, I wasn't thinking the things that I was thinking. But I think that's God's design for a man, is like to throw your life into your work. That's meaningful and purposeful and has something to do with community, kind of like you guys talk about, not something that's just like, oh, this is really self-absorbed. This is all about clout. This is all about attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And that's kind of where I was at. But again, it was the distraction of the danger that kept me so wrapped up in the game and escaping just the mental turmoil.
Was there a point when you were heavy into the riding where a switch went off and maybe the purpose for the riding was different, where it wasn't just
100%. Yes.
It wasn't just to fix what was going on in your head or hide
I know
it?
exactly what that moment was. I got in an accident in 2015. I T-boned a car. And I get to the hospital. I can hear my girlfriend running around the corner going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, you know, comes in. The first thing I say to her, where's the bike? I can't lose the bike. At this point, I can't feel my left leg. I'm unsure if my left leg's going to work in. I don't even care because of how much this bike meant to me and what I knew I was going to lose without it. Long story short, I recover, obviously, get back on it, and then I start posting videos of this, like the hero's journey, basically. Like, get in the accident, I look this way, I'm battered up, I'm bruised, I can't walk on my own for 6 months, I'm using crutches, I'm back on the bike. And then the 2 years after the accident, I got into the conversation of being one of the best riders in the country. So that like hero's journey, I was getting messages from guys that are in the hospital, like could have their leg amputated, could lose a limb. Yo, can you just talk to me? Like, I don't know where I'm going to go after this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't get the bike back. A lot of these guys, that are in this are living for the day like I was. So if they lose the bike, they don't have money to get it back. I didn't have money to get my bike back. They're just living for that moment and that escape. Again, just like I was. And as I kept posting these content of the crashes and then the rebuild, all these messages just started flooding in of people that needed support because they were lost like I was. And then I had another moment where when I started speaking, I made a video about my wife riding the bike, and I made the video just about everything I just talked to you guys about. And I had a mom reach out to me and message me on Facebook and say, thank you for making that video. Now I understand why my son has to do this, even though I hate it. And at that moment, I was like, oh, man, bro, this isn't even about you. This is so much deeper than that. And I think from that moment, my whole journey changed. And the way I looked at the bike started to change. And slowly it was a downhill of getting ready to be done with it after that. Because I knew I had something bigger to do.
Right.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that, man. So let's now talk about healthy habits. Let's talk about, getting that mental right. Some of the tactics, what worked for you.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I think for the last couple of years since retiring, it's been hard for me. You think of this like, I always tell people, I reached a point in my life where most people never do, where you're actually doing something every single day that you're willing to die for. Not many people unlock that part in their brain, and then nobody talks about the part where if you don't die, I didn't have plans after this. I committed in my mid-20s, I'll do this until I die. The bike will kill me, and I'll get good in the process. Okay, well, here I am, not riding it.
Now what? Yeah.
Thank you, right? So you see a lot of men go through this with career, right? This guy, he gets a great job, he has a great career, he's doing the stuff, he's got the car, the house, and all these things, he loses his job. Now what? Is he a nobody? Right?
Yeah.
And so this identity piece, I think, is so important for men to understand that I always say now, find something intangible that nobody can touch, and it's likely a cause to serve humanity, and go die on that hill. Because when things go wrong, it's not like, okay, well, I lost this thing, the bike for me, I'm nobody. I used to tell myself that, if you don't have this bike, you're nobody. You're nobody. What's your life worth? And it wasn't until my wife, who now wife was my girlfriend at the time, she asked me that question. And so the development of my character, I don't even know if I would be the man I am without my wife. She asked me, who are you without the bike? Nobody. No, the bike is nothing without you. You're the one making it do what it's doing. But I was glorifying it so much that every time I lost it, or every time I went through adversity, every time I broke something, I couldn't fix it, I was living for the day. And when I couldn't fix it, or when I lost it, I was a nobody. But I think, again, attaching yourself to something, men need this spirit. We need this spirit of, I'm dedicating my life to this. So for me, in the last couple of years, I felt a little lost. But the good thing is I have discipline, and I have people depending on me, my family, my wife, my kids, that I never slip back into that mindset. But the last couple of years, I've been looking for a giant to slay. And I've just decided more recently that it's going to be stuff that has to do with parenting and early childhood development, and realizing how important these years are for our kids and what it means to be a good example. I think a lot of parents and dads specifically, we fight all these battles, act like nothing's wrong. And because we don't deal with it and we just bury it, we have no actual tools to share with our kids.
Right.
Right? So then when your son goes through this adversity, what advice do you give him? Can you give him advice? Right? And I think
you can, but you should be living the same advice that you're going to give, right?
Exactly. So that's been my mantra lately, the last couple of years. I always use metaphor. I think it's the most powerful way to live. You can live two places at once. if my son came to me as a grown man with this same situation, and I'm 60 something and he's 30 something, what would I tell him? And then whatever is about to come out of my mouth, I have to go live that.
Yeah, and I think when you're giving that advice too, it can be from very different places, right? Like you had the same set of circumstances going through it and after it. It was what you did with those circumstances that defined it, right?
100%.
And having that mental fortitude. And you used a great word there too, man. You said discipline. Like that will get you through the hard times. It's just having the discipline to do the things, right?
100%.
Talk about your parents' support. So like you gave them this news that like, hey, I'm not taking the scholarship, and your dad's like, hey, go get a job.
Yeah.
You start this journey, you crash your bike, you get hurt, but you keep pursuing that. What kind of support or what kind of advice are they giving you in your ear while you're going through this, or did you just shut that off and you're like, I'm doing this and I'm not listening
I
anymore?
had to shut it off. Like my parents didn't support it at all. I mean, I don't have any regrets, right? As we all shouldn't. You know, you're at where you're at for a reason. But I wish I had stepped to the bike as a professional and not a degenerate. Because I know that if I would have, I could have made something out of it. But the way that I stepped to it and my attitude and where I was mentally, you couldn't tell me shit. And that was sponsors. That was like I was fumbling the business side of the motorcycle and what could have been for the longest time. And until I have my own business now, I realize how south I went when I could have made something out of it. I know I could have done something financially, because one thing I will be transparent about is I smacked my head against the concrete for 10 years and never made any money.
Yeah.
My parents completely didn't support any of it. I mean, I was running from the cops and I was doing all these things I shouldn't have been. I was a bad example for a lot of people. And because I was good at it, I had people looking up to me that I should have been like, yo, this is not how we carry ourselves as men, right? But now that, again, I have the hindsight, now I can go back and try to make a difference.
So when did the support of your parents change? Because obviously your journey changed and your purpose changed. When did the support of your parents change, and what's their take on things now? This
is something that I'm super passionate about. I'm glad you asked me this question. I think obviously we all do our best with what we know, or we hope so, right?
Right.
I had a really, really good relationship with my mom, but with that, she put a lot of her limiting beliefs on me. Right? This is the way that things should be done, right? You should get a job, you should climb the corporate ladder. I'm not against that for anybody, by the way. But I knew it wasn't for me. I mean, I had this rebellious attitude, and you're going to stick me in a cubicle? Like, it's just not going to work. And my just beliefs about money and how the world works and all these things, like this was shaping my beliefs that I've carried into my life that don't serve me in any way, shape, or form right now at all. So I had this season of like trying to rewire all of my beliefs and going through hard things that I didn't necessarily have to go through just to get into the situation to find out who I was as a man. And I think more recently I've gotten the support of my parents, but I always used to tell my mom, I don't need your advice, I need your support. Please, because I love you, but I don't want to live how you're living. So can you just support me? Let me hit my head and just be there when I need you. But after that, like, I don't need any of the commentary. Because if I would have listened to my parents, I would have been living a life that I don't love.
Right.
And now I think my mom was like, okay, I see it. Now I see it. I think it's super important for men specifically, carry out that vision that you see, regardless of who is supporting you. I think it's for men to bring results. And throughout all the lack of support or the testing or whatever that might be, when you bring back results, you are trustworthy, because it shows like, I put action into something, I put belief into something, and here is the fruit. I think that shows you as a trustworthy person.
Right.
Yeah, me too. I want to hear more about your wife, the family you've built, your kids. Tell us what you're working on these days.
Yeah, man. So we have 3 kids, 1 on the way.
There you go.
It's a grind. It's a grind. I think I needed the season that I was in my early 20s to have this one now, because I think reaching that point where you wake up every day and you're ready to die for something. I've been looking for that thing for the last probably 4 or 5 years. You know, I have a media company. I'm super grateful for it. I'm super grateful for all my clients. I'm happy about the character that building the business has given me, but it's not the hill that I'll die on, you know? And I think that a lot of people are okay with, and this is what I love about life, and especially the day that we live in. There is so many different ways to live, and nobody has this figured out, or at least this is my impression, right? Even the people that put it in the front of the line that they have it figured out, they're dealing with stuff that they're not talking about.
Right.
I want to do something related to my family and my kids to make an impact and serve families in some type of way, so that I know, even though I built this great business that I have, it's not going to be the end for me. It's just a means to an end. And I've realized this over about the last year or so, that I'm treating it. I worked a job before, I built a business. Now my business and my job, and I'm going to work my way out of it. And again, I just want to leave a mark here, you know? I want my kids to want to be proud to carry my casket. And that's what I think about every single day. If I'm not going to die for this, again, this isn't for everybody. I personally only have one speed. If I'm not going to die for this, it's really, really hard for me to do the things necessary. And you guys are in business, you know, it's kill or be killed. So if you don't want it to have that level of effort placed within it, it's really hard to do it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just it's a different passion. If it's not, you know, your work can be your own business, and you could grow it to whatever size or whatever growth you want to have it to be. But if it's not your purpose, there's a different feeling and a different meaning behind it,
100%.
and you just don't take it on at 100%, right?
Yeah, and that's what my wife will always have this conversation with me. She's like, every time you get us in a good spot, you want to do something else. Like, why? And I'm just like, babe, you don't understand. Like, I have a sword on my back that I need to stick through a giant, and you just don't get it, you know? And it's just like, I'm leaving that sword in the holster when I do what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Yeah. And again, I know this message won't resonate with everybody, but I just don't know any other way to live.
No, you're talking to 2 guys live the exact same way, man.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, and we've been blessed enough. I mean, I got a little more gray in my beard than you do.
I'm getting there. I got a couple. I've been picking them out.
Yeah, no, you got to let them do it, man. They love it. Trust
me.
But I'm at kind of another one of those crossroads. Like I'm in my 40s. I've joked before on the show that I still don't know who I want to be when I grow up.
I love that. Can you say that one more time, please?
I still don't know who I want to be when I grow up.
That's so good. Yeah. Many men need to hear that. So many men need to hear that, because imagine you walk in a room of people that you respect, right? And everyone's like, oh, what you got going on? We're scaling this, we're scaling that, you know, we're buying boats, we're doing all these things. Honestly, I'm in a season, I have no idea. Nobody wants to say that. So keep going with that. That's so powerful.
Yeah. And I think that leads to being, curious. It leads to you looking for opportunities. And like, we've always been like that. Like, Jamie and I have had some success together. We've had some success separately. And like, the thing that keeps me coming back is like, you got to pursue that passion. You got to find the thing that gets you out of bed. And for us, it's community. Like, it's doing shit like this show. It's doing, our Burlington Dads group. It's doing things in our city. Both of us are extremely active in the not-for-profit space, and you got to do that, man.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, go back to what you said about, there's a lot of men that need to hear that. Like, I'm super open with that, and like, I've had seasons where we've had financial success, and then I've had seasons where we've not, and I've had times where I'm like, no, I'm doing that one for the paycheck because I needed it. And then I've had other times where I'm like, oh shit, I can't even believe I'm getting paid to do this. Like it does go like that when you're trying to be scrappy and entrepreneurial.
Nah, keep going with this. Stay right in that space and just keep going, because this is so powerful. I think these conversations are the ones that need to be had, especially with guys like you that a lot of people respect, because we want to have it figured out. Like nobody wants to. We're driving the boat. Right? And you have your wife and your kids that are depending on you. No man wants to feel like I'm driving the boat and I have no idea where I'm taking this family. That is like, I think that's every man's biggest fear. And so again, that's why we'll attach ourselves to financials, right? Or everything outside of the home, because I don't care what anybody says. It takes a very special person to not have subconscious thoughts show up in your life. So when you don't know who you are, it takes a really, really different type of person not to spend 15 hours at the office because you're unsure about spiritually what you're doing with your family.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to come home, because that would require me to do what? Face that.
Yeah.
Right? I think if we were just more honest with how old are you guys? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 44.
Okay.
41.
Okay, so our parents, this generation of us, I believe, has swung the complete opposite way. We never hit the middle. Our parents never shared anything, right? Our dads never shared anything. They put their boots on every day, and you didn't see them 14, 15 hours later. I feel like this generation is very, well, that was traumatic for me, and now I have trauma, and I have all these things related to this, so I'm going to go all the way the other way. We're sharing everything. We're feeling our feelings. We're crying about it. Can we just get right here? Because I think emotional intelligence is talking about it, but not letting it drive you. It's that simple. Like, can you say you're sad without sitting in the corner and crying all day? Or can you cry, but just walk anyways? I'm okay with that too. Can you say you're angry and not punch a hole in the wall?
Not get all caught up in your feelings.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to teach.
Understand them.
Understand
move
them
on from them.
and move accordingly. Right? Like, and that's what the biggest thing I'm trying to teach my son is, we joke at my house that we have a mixture of our parents and gentle parenting. I asked my son, hey, it looks like you're having a hard time right now. You having a hard time? Yeah, I'm having a hard time. Well, that's great, because good men have hard times. So you're right where you need to be. Now, what can we do in order to resolve this hard time? And then we do that and we move on. But I think
you go find the next hard time. That's what they don't tell you.
Exactly.
You'll get through one, and I promise there's another one waiting for you.
100%.
So the key is the emotional regulation, the intelligence to just be like, no, this is, I wanted this, and I'm going to go and get this.
100%. No, I love that. But no, that conversation you had, I still don't know who I want to be. That is so powerful. Because, and then, I know you talked a little bit about nonprofit work. I'm involved in a nonprofit as well. Same ideas for at-risk youth. We're in the town where I grew up, where I won't share too many details, but unfortunately my brother got swallowed up and is now involved in drugs and has been an addict for the past 10 years or so. And that town is just a small mill town with nothing but guys to do to be loggers or work at the mill, and a lot of drugs get involved in these areas. And so my friend who's the founder, I'm just on the board, we're pushing to be a voice for the voiceless, basically. A lot of these kids, I don't think we realize, because we're so distracted by these things, I don't think we realize what's actually going on with kids and with just the parents in general. Like, we are so tied to a reality that doesn't exist because it's on a screen, that we are passively watching things fall apart. I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a lot of optimism in the world when you create it, but I personally think humanity is falling apart.
So I want to pick that up right there, because I want to talk about youth for a second. So good for you for doing that. Stay in that space. I did a little over a decade at a youth center here in Burlington, where we are, volunteer board chairman. And the amount of learnings that I got out of that, the amount of understanding on where the opportunities are in our community was crazy. That was the best job. So yeah, keep leaning in on that. And I'll tell you too, like, we see it in the dads group as well. and it kind of dovetails our conversation. Like, there is a movement right now for men that are really, really proud to be dads. And I don't think we've had that in history, at least to this
agree.
length, right?
I agree.
You know, just go back one generation, they'd tell you what they did for a living first,
Yep.
and then they'd mention that they had kids. And now you're almost having the opposite conversation where you got guys saying, "Yeah, I'm a proud dad. I got 2 girls. I'm a girl dad. I'm a," you know, and then there's these brands like you've got on your hat
Yep.
that are like, you know, making it cool to be a dad. And because it is, man, because it's honorable work, it's noble work, it's something that is, you know, we're all supposed to do this, right?
100%.
It's part of our call as a man to be able to provide and protect, and we love that shit. And I think more conversations about it.
And now dad bods are in too.
Yeah, shout out to dad bods.
Oh man,
They're not, dude.
no, I love that conversation. I think I think we're the first generation that has truly adapted. What we all know in our spirit is like, if it can be taken from you, it's not that valuable. And when are we going to actually believe in that? And I think we're one of the first generations that are stepping into that. I also think at the same time, a lot of it has to do with avoidance, right? Like, well, I don't want to miss this time with my kids doesn't make an excuse that you have to build something in the world. Because you do. That is also your call as a man, is that you are supposed to build something in the world and have meaningful work.
Best way to provide and protect.
100%.
Have resources.
Yep.
And why not bring your kids along? You know what I mean? Like you're doing that nonprofit stuff. Like we do ours. We have our kids there as often as we can so that they're seeing stuff people go through. They're understanding that kind of stuff because, you know, our kids have it pretty good. Like they don't have the struggles other people do.
Yeah.
But they need to know and feel and understand what those struggles are. And the only way to do it is by bringing them out and making them be a part of other people's journeys.
100%. I think a lot of parents buy into the lie that you can live, and I think it's so cool what you guys do, that we can live the same life we did before and think that it's going to align with what's truly important to you, right? So you guys are bringing your kids along with, right? But a lot of dads are, you know, I saw someone the other day post this thing that, man, it just drove me nuts. It was like, I'm losing myself in being a dad. That's the point. What do you mean? You
Right.
can't do all these things you were doing. You're not single. You have people dependent on you. And I think the ultimate form of motivation, because obviously motivation doesn't exist. You guys are disciplined guys, you know this, is responsibility. When people are depending on me and I have to do this, what else do you need? Especially when it's meaningful. I work with men one-on-one as well. And the first couple things I will say to do is, if you're feeling this type of way, you're feeling sad, you feel like, you know, you're unworthy, all these things, find someone in your life, a grandma, ideally, because it's meaningful to you, and make that person's livelihood your responsibility. Why don't make enough money? You will now, right? Go find a way. We're always searching. Men are always the question. I read this book. It's called Wild at Heart. Have you guys ever heard it?
No.
Okay. He says the number one question that every man is seeking in everything we do is, am I competent? And that's what makes our spirit come alive. And when you go out on an adventure to answer that question, that's where the character is built. But most of us just shy away from that, which is where the shame and all the guilt and all these things come from. And that's just a downward spiral and a black hole that never ends.
We had another guest on the show and he wrote a book and I love everything that he lives by too. And it's, I get to.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
no matter where you are in your life, there's things that you get to. You know what I mean? Just be happy, be proud, use that as your purpose that you get to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I think too, like when you talk about your analogy, which I really like about, you know, going to find that dragon to slay, that big thing, that audacious goal.
Yep.
You also have to remember that along the way, there are needs. Like I see a lot of guys that'll just like jump. Like they're like, nah, man, I got to go slay this dragon. I quit my job. I don't have a plan, but I'm going to go find this dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, bro, that's not a road you want to go down.
No.
Like the better play is you gotta, go get supplies, go make sure that the lights are on, go make sure that, resources are there, because you'll not only be able to find the dragon still doing that, you'll be ready to fight when you see it. Cause you gotta have money, you gotta have resources. Like you just have to.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, I know it's no fun.
It's not fun. Yeah, that's not as fun.
Jamie swings at every pitch like he's gonna hit a home run.
And you know what? And that's me. And I don't have that story. I couldn't do that. And I think it's because I had so many, when I started my business, I started doing business, couple failed businesses in 2019, 2020. And I didn't have that spirit because I had so many limiting beliefs around money and about just what money is and creating value and getting paid for value instead of getting paid for time, that I couldn't build two things at once. Because I've always been, whatever I touch, I put everything into it. And I was a bartender for 10 years. And before six figures was, your lunch money, I was making six figures standing behind a bar, like no problem, for years and years and years. And I couldn't do my business at the same time because I didn't take it serious. I was like, I'm already getting fed here, and I was single. And I've got, 4 bikes in the garage. I'm living in this big house. I'm renting, all these things. And it wasn't until I had a moment where I got in a fight with my employer and I left, and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm making this thing work. And I think I lacked a lot of resourcefulness, I feel like, as just being transparent. And I didn't realize what resourcefulness was until you go, well, we don't have money. Well, I got a credit card, right? And I can fill that up, and I can go get a personal loan and empty it and fill it up again, right? Obviously not the best route to go financially, but I needed that because you guys are entrepreneurs by any means necessary, right? So I quit my job without the plan B, and I don't think if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be able to build it. I wish I could say, I'm the guy that's like steadily doing the thing, and I'm stacking here, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. If I get a word, I got to jump.
Yeah. But you actually, you did do what we were talking about. You took the time to have the 6-figure job for a period of time. You did accumulate resources. There's 4 bikes in the garage.
Yeah.
There's a big house you rent.
Yeah.
And you had access to a credit card.
Yep.
You had access to a personal line of credit.
Yeah.
Like you did the thing without knowing you did the thing.
I guess so.
You said, but what you said though is you made the commitment.
Yep.
That is a point worth making, right? As soon as you saw opportunity, you jumped, and that too. Like I preach that all the time. Like sometimes you got to run.
Yeah.
Like speed is an advantage almost every time.
Yeah.
We say, like, if we're trying to get something over the finish line, like progress over perfection, like do the thing now because and you're going to learn what you're going to learn, right? You build something in a boardroom and you think it's perfect and you put it out into the real world and they'll tell you pretty quick it isn't.
100%.
So you're way better to put out the idea, get the feedback, maybe get some sales under your belt. You're going to learn a lot from that and then continually refine, right?
You can't fix something that's not out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I want to talk a little bit about social media as well too. You're somebody with a footprint online. You've obviously had, different with your media company and things like that. How are you feeling about social media these days? What's your approach to that?
I'll be honest with you. This is part of the identity thing. I posted videos for 10 years, right? And I was consistent for 10 years. Not a lot of people can say that. I just was documenting my journey. And I know it doesn't look like it. I think I'm at 80 something and some change, but at one point I was at 104. And as soon as I stopped posting the bike stuff and started posting self-development, spiritual development, dad stuff, I watched 24,000 people unfollow me. And was that easy? No. I mean, especially when you dedicate your life to something. But I always, I love what you brought up about commitment. My wife always gets mad at me when I say this kind of stuff, but man, if I didn't have the bike, I wouldn't be the man I am today because I understand what it is like to be committed to something. This is by any means necessary. This means, dude, I crashed a bike against the wall one time and I tucked the frame of the bike in 2 inches. Like the front wheel, I don't know if you guys know motorcycles, the front wheel was almost touching the radiator. I rode it for 6 months like that on the road illegally. Like, I'm gonna ride this thing and nothing's gonna stop me. And I think that I failed, and the reason I say I failed is because I knew what I should have been doing and I wasn't. I failed for so long because I had the keys and I didn't open the door. You know what it is to be committed. You know what it is to be willing to die for something and put that type of conviction behind it. But I didn't do it in any other area in my life but the motorcycle. That is stupidity. Once you have the knowledge, you are now accountable to that knowledge. And if you're not accountable to it, that's where this misery and this shame and guilt starts. But so I'm watching day by day people unfollow me. Again, 24, 25, 26,000 people unfollowing me. It is discouraging. But I'm evolving and I have conviction in what I'm doing right now. And I think for the last couple of years that I stayed off social media, every time I posted something unrelated to the bike, that I just threw something out there, I felt like a fraud. And so I shied away from it for a really long time. But now I'm ready to step. Like, I feel convicted in what I'm saying. I'm passionate about what I'm saying. And again, it's a hill I'll die on. So that's where I think, as far as like how I'm going about it right now and what I believe about social media, I think we are in a trust lacking environment. I see people every single day and they have no idea. They're commenting on these videos. Oh yeah, I resonate with this. Oh yeah, all these. It's AI. It's literally a fake person. And they're like, oh, this is so fire. I needed to hear this. Thank you for posting this. We have to do better. We have to do better. Like, we really have to do better. So I am trying with myself and with my clients, how deep can we go? Where's the depth at? And I think that's only trying to get into the things that truly matter. So I think before, kind of like you said, you've introduced yourself as a professional for a very long time. And then it's like, oh, and I have a wife and kids and I'm married and all these things. But now it's like dad first. Now I'm telling all my clients, and I'm doing with myself, this is who I am first, and what I do is second. Because if there's a million options, why me? If there's a million options, why you guys? I believe it's no longer about the product, it's about the person.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk a little bit about the spirituality piece too, man. That's come up a few times. Tell us about your belief system and how you practice spirituality.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I follow scripture. I try to live my best to live by the Bible. And that has just changed my life completely. Again, it's just like, why are we here? I think we're all wondering that. And if we're not wondering that, I think you're missing a big part of what this experience is. I'm not a believer that we just showed up here for no reason. Like, it was just like, boom, and then here we are. Like, there has to be, you think of the emotional moments that you've had in your life. I always say the best moments in life are, if God were to take me right now, I'd be okay with that because I'm doing something that is so important to me. Or you look around at your environment and you go, man, you can't make this shit up. How is this even possible? How is this happening? And I try to gather as many of those moments as possible. And I've noticed that a lot of them are with my kids and having some sort of positive impact on people. And so that's what I'm trying to collect. And I think that can only happen with some type of depth. And I think that's what we're lacking right now in society is depth. Everything is quick. It's microwavable. It's AI made. And I'm going the complete opposite direction. And everybody's going right. You guys know this. Like I said, you guys are entrepreneurs. You guys are high achievers. Like, you guys know if everyone's doing something, you should be going the other way. And so, yes, I use AI to aid me in my business, but I'm going toward human connection. Like, I'm focusing more on my wife's business right now, which we're building. She's a doula. She helps women give birth. Everybody's going to keep having kids. And that's something that AI can't commoditize. So we're aggressively working on her content within that more than trying to work my own business. because I believe that a lot of what I'm doing will be commoditized to where what she's doing will not be. So I'm human focused on everything. And I think that's what the call of man is. It's not to, of course, we should try to optimize the things that are unimportant to us, but only to spend time on the things that are important to us, not to do just more unmeaningful stuff.
Yeah. The importance piece too leads into my next question, which we always like to ask, which is just around legacy. So my question is, if you could define it, craft it, leave it behind, you said that day that they're carrying the casket, what do you want people to say about you?
Wow. Again, I have metaphors for pretty much everything. I tell my kids, I always make a birthday post, obviously, as we all do, social media. Everybody has to know it's your kid's birthday, right? I want my kids to know, my wife to know, when I die, that every single day that I gave you everything I had, and every day would have been a good day to lay my life down for you. And that's it. And I think our legacy is our children, I think, and our family. How powerful is it if you could lay a foundation of thought patterns, beliefs, the ways to live, how to be a good person? I think your success as a man is how long that lasts. How many generations can you go until it falls apart? For me, my wife, we're the chain breakers. Like, we're the first generation that's going to stay married. We're the first generation that lives the way we live. We're the first generation that makes the money that we make and all these things. How long can I keep that going? Will I pour enough seeds into my children, especially my son, who will lead his sisters, right, until they get married? Can I pour enough into him that he'll continue the same legacy? If I'm just handing things down and we do like this stuff that a lot of people do, I want to give my kids the things I never had. If you don't teach them right things, they're going to fumble it anyways. Right? So that's my goal. I'm here to break the chains. And how can I lay a foundation that my son can continue? Hopefully my daughters will marry men that are similar. And how long can that go? I think that's your legacy.
And then from the kids' eyes, like if Jamie and I had the opportunity to sit down with your kids and we said, tell us about your dad, what do you think they'd say?
That's a great question. They're 5, 3, and 1.5. I don't know what they would say, but I'll say, I asked my son something the other day because I have, we go back to what my parents did with me a little bit. It was always pushing me in a direction. Go here, go here, go here, go here. And I had no foundation to even do well at whatever they were trying to get me to do. So my belief is we teach our kids the principles and we don't choose their path. So instead of telling my son, hey, I want you to be a baseball player and we're going to do this and we're going to do this and you're going to swing every day and do all these things, how can I just teach you to be a savage and be hard to kill? Because at the end of the day, you guys know as well, this game that we're in life, you can have as much talent as you want, but if you're easy to kill, it doesn't matter anyways. You see this in sports and you see this through all these things, that if the mentality is not there, nothing matters. So I want to teach my kids a mentality. But just to lay the foundation there is I ask my son all the time, even though he's 5. We do baseball, we do dirt bikes, he does jujitsu, we're working out. And even at this young of an age, I ask son, what do you want to do? Like, do you even want to ride your bike right now? If you don't want to ride your bike, we can do something else. We're going to do something right now, but I want you to do something that you want to do. And whatever it is that you do, I want you to give your best at it. That's all I ask of you. Learn how to empty the tank. Because I think that competition is not you versus the other person. It's whoever can empty the tank. Because I believe anybody can do anything. That's just my belief. So if you can get to the point where you are truly pushing yourself to where, like, right after this, I'm going to die, I think that's the competition. So that's why what I want to teach my kids is just empty the tank. I asked them the other day, hey, what do you like to do? Do you like baseball? Son, I don't want to push you to something you don't want to do. Do you like your bike? Do you like dirt bikes? Like, whatever you want to do. And he said, I like spending time with you.
Yeah.
Like he didn't say the bike. He didn't say anything else. He said, I want to spend time with you. Man, killed me just right there, you know?
Tells you everything. Yeah. Tells you everything.
And they do, man. So much of it is just showing up.
100%.
Yeah. Show up, take them with you. Good things happen, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's I want to look forward a little bit, man. What do you think that dragon's going to be? What are you excited about? Where are you headed?
I'm excited about having conviction in who I am in the season. You know, I think we talked a little bit about like being in that unknown. Nobody likes that. I don't care what anybody says, man, woman, nobody likes to feel like I don't know where I'm going. Because when you have a direction, you have action. And when you're not moving, it feels uncomfortable. Like to wake up every day and not feel like there is a purpose for which I'm giving my action is very uncomfortable. So I'm excited about, again, just my conviction, start pouring into the next generation, specifically focusing on young athletes for right now. And again, I work with men as well, but I think so many young athletes are missing that mentality piece, right? Especially now with social media. And one thing I do want to lay out is, you know, not to say that the kids that we're raising and the generation is soft, but they're dealing with a battle that we didn't deal with. Everything is online, right? They have a different enemy than we did, and the enemy is the screen. Like there has been very few times where in generations where success is usually about action and effort. Now it's about restraint. Can you not be involved in the screen? Right? And I think that is what's going to eat kids alive. And I want to spread that message and also lay a foundation that sports are a training ground for life. And the cool thing is, if you learn the habit of squeezing all the juice out of the season, you can make a habit of doing that as a man too, for the rest of your life. This is not about you, it's about your team. Sound familiar? It's not about me, it's about my wife and kids. Sound familiar, right? So helping young boys build those habits and understand that the identity is in the character and it's not in the game. Because when the game goes, then what?
Yeah, we're big proponents of that, man. Love sport for all the reasons you just said. What's maybe we'll I'm just having an eye on the clock here. We're about time. I want to respect your time. Do you want to maybe see us out with maybe a dad joke?
Oh man.
You got a good dad joke for us?
I don't it's not a joke, but man, and is it a good dad joke if your wife hates it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will do this thing whenever I'm in charge of the kids, and it's always the baby, right? So it always has to be the baby within this joke. And we'll be somewhere out, or my wife, I'll be like, hey, babe, like we're at the park, like go take a walk. My wife stays at home, and I like to give her obviously as much time as we can. Hey, babe, like I got the kids, I'm at the park, go take a walk, you know, come back, go grab a coffee, whatever. And I'll check her location when I know she's coming back, and she'll get there, and I'll have my kids hide the baby, and she'll be like, where's the baby? I don't know, right? Not funny, Dad, not funny. And it's like, obviously she gets it now, but at first it wasn't funny, you know? And like I said, it's not a good dad joke if your wife doesn't hate it.
Yeah, I have one very similar along those lines too, where I was babysitting my little nephew for the first time, and I like to cook, so I was just kind of hanging out with him, and he was just a little guy. He was old enough to sit up on his own, so whatever that makes him, let's call it one and a bit. And I was like, I'm going to send her a funny picture right now. I've got the photo of it too, and I'm just like, I taught the baby how to hold the big chef knife right in front of it, and then I took a picture and just quickly like took it away or whatever, and just put it in the group chat with the fam. I'm like, how am I doing?
Bro. Now they would just think it's AI.
Yeah,
literally.
they
say it's AI. We didn't have those.
That's
tools,
something I would do too. Yeah, I think it's it's not the humor, it's the scaring for me. You know, like, oh, where is? I don't. Like, yeah.
Yeah, keep them on their toes.
Literally.
Man.
That's good, man. Thank you so much for this.
Great chat, dude. I'm rooting for you.
You guys.
I hope we find a dragon. I hope we go on to continue doing big things. And let's go make some young men good men.
Come on, man. I love that.
And good luck with your fourth. You got a fourth on the way?
Yeah, 2 months. We're 2 months out. Yeah, I always say I'm ready until it's here, right? And then you're like, oh man, what do we get ourselves into?
Does a doula get a doula?
I'm the doula. I'm the support. Yeah, my wife, man, I just got to give credit to my wife, man. I don't know how she does what she does. She's just an absolute savage. Again, a big part of my character, a big part of my development was from her, calling out the BS. Like, hey, I see something deeper in you than you're displaying as a man in your character right now. And that if I want to be with this woman, I have to rise to the occasion. And that all that development has just led me into, I don't even know if I'd be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for her. So
shout out wifey.
Yeah, you're blessed, buddy. You're blessed.
Yeah, for sure. If you can find one like that, that's a real one, man. And I think too, like, for any of the ladies that are listening too, like there's a lot in that. If you see potential, make it
100%. And I think
remind him.
It's just, I think that's what's also super hard, because not a lot of people want to talk about how when you be with a man that's building, I'll personally tell you right now, I'm no problem being transparent. Like, broke men have bad habits. Like, and men with limiting beliefs and men that are dealing with anger and all these things, we have bad habits, and we're not fun to be around. So it's like, everybody wants to have that story, but nobody wants to talk about the things that they went through. They just have this, like, we made it. She was with me since day one, and for us, it was hard, and it's still war going through all these things and like coming from parents that have these habits and all this stuff. And I always say the chosen ones, like, expected to be bloody, expected to have scars and expected to have burns, because that's where, again, I'm so worried about my character. What, like you said, what will our kids say about us? And that's the most important thing to me. And I think if I can get my kids to think like that at an early age, they'll continue this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Set
great,
the bar,
man.
Well, great chat, Nate.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll stay in touch, man,
Cool.
and we're rooting for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. We'll
Appreciate
keep
you guys.
watching. All right. Thank you
bro.
so much, man.